Hey guys, Bryan Schmitt, back home here in between events. Just got done with Sabine River in Texas, and I got a little bit of time before Lake Fork. I'm gonna break down the good, the bad, and the ugly from the Sabine River. I just got back from, I had a very, very bad event in points. I might show a little emotion here because I was really looking forward to that place. It's a massive tidal system. It's kind of what I've grown up doing, and I knew really early on, even in a little bit of pre-scouting, looking at history, that you had to get away if you wanted to hit a home run. It fished real small, and in practice, I would sample some areas and I would get some bites, but I just felt like I'm going to fish the exact same water with 20, maybe even more guys per day. We're going to fish the same exact, visual targets, and I just didn't enjoy that. And I let that get in my head, and that was a big thing. So, for me, that past week at the Sabine River was a poor decision on day one. So we got 4 days of practice, and the final day of practice I used to go try something crazy, something different that you wouldn't try necessarily in a standard 3 days of practice. I took that fourth day and tried it, and I didn't find what I wanted to find, but I made a decision to go to a spot that was about a 50-minute boat ride one way. And I felt like there was a lot less pressure in this area. It was Taylor's Bayou. And I had a couple stretches in there that I felt like the fish were on specific stretches. And I felt like I could get a couple bites, quickly. And I would probably have it to myself. And I also had one canal over there that had some fish. I felt like I had options. But the tricky thing is, with Taylor's, is there's a saltwater lock, and generally speaking, with these saltwater locks, they'll open them up for boats to come in, and then they close them to keep the salt water from intruding in. And in practice, I don't know if they were open, but the water seemed higher in Taylor's in practice. When I showed up for the first morning, I noticed on some of the trees it was about a 6-inch drop. There was a 6-inch mud line or water line on the trees, and I noticed a little bit of current, and it just seemed like things were different. And I didn't kill myself there, but I gave it a fair enough shake on a couple key stretches, and I didn't get any bites. And to make that kind of run on a system that you're really looking forward to, and to go to where you thought was your best shot, to not get any bites wasn't a good thing on day one. I was sitting really good in points, and I told my marshal really early on, I said, man, I need to cut ties right now and salvage today. We need to run straight on back to Orange and get all around takeoff, maybe Cow Bayou or Adams Bayou, and just start fishing. And that was the right decision to do. But the problem was I couldn't do it. I kept trying things on the way back. Kept thinking I'm going to hit that home run. And instead of just being, stubborn and I'm going to go get me some fish, I just, Bryan Schmitt's thinking I'm going to hit a home run no matter what. It's a tidal system. I'm going to collide with them. And that wasn't a smart decision. And the biggest lesson I learned there is, if something doesn't work immediately, once you really know it's not going to work, you need to salvage all you can. It's not time to experiment anymore after that. You go to what you know. So big learning lesson. And day two, I just went fishing, and I stayed local, caught a limit pretty quick, culled a couple times, and then stumbled onto something really cool. Stumbled onto a little spot, and I lost 3 really nice fish. Believe it or not, with me only weighing 1 fish in day one, I got to see these 3 I lost. With what I had bite on day 2, I would have made the cut. which was 14 and change. You know, I needed 13 and some. I had that bite, And that calmed me down. I told my marshal, this is my 5th tournament of the year, 4 bass and 1 Toyota series, and I fished good in every day except for yesterday. Today I fished good. I might not have got them in the boat, but I made the good decisions and I got on the bite. So I was at peace. I moved up a couple spots. At the end of the year, 4 or 5 places could mean a lot in the angler year points and classic berth and so forth. So I was glad to at least get a limit and get a couple points. So real quick, I'm gonna break down what my deal was. I wanted to go there and fish Potomac 101, Chesapeake Bay 101. I wanted to frog, I wanted to flip, I wanted to swim jig, I wanted to chatterbait. And, I could get that going a little bit, but not to the point I wanted. So there's just not a lot of grass there, and when you have vegetation and hydrilla and milfoil, in my opinion, you can't catch all that's there. But when you're fishing hard targets on a tidal system, sometimes you can catch all that's there. And that was a big thing for me. So, I would catch one and wouldn't feel comfortable going back to a place. So, big deal for me, MISSILEBAITS 48. It's compact. I fished it wacky and Texas rigged, real light Texas rig or wacky. Got bites on that all through practice. June bug, bruiser flash, just kept it simple there. That was a perfect size bait for bites. Another big deal for me was a baby D-bomb in bruiser flash, just more compact. Some of these fish are small, man, and you can overbear them with bigger baits. The mentality is I'm gonna throw a big bait and catch big fish. Well, you need to get bites, and some of them fish just couldn't handle a big bait. So the baby D-bomb was a big deal for me. 3/16 ounce Rains tungsten on a 3/0 FPP straight Hayabusa hook, flipping hook, 17-pound P-line, ultimate fluorocarbon. I threw that on a 7-foot medium heavy stunner rod from Fitzgerald and a 7-to-1 stunner reel. That was a big deal for me. I also caught some, on a Spro bronze eye frog, a couple key fish I weighed in on a leopard color, 50-pound P-line braid, Fitzgerald frog rod, for that 7-to-1 stunner reel. That was it, to be honest with you. I pushed the swim jig pretty hard, and it is one little thing I want to share with everybody. Sometimes a forage base can change the way fish bite your stuff. So what I mean by that is I've thrown a lot of swim jigs, and I've had a lot of bites on swim jigs. And I noticed in practice, these fish would mouth it. And I throw compact, swim jig from Hayabusa. It's small, compact, not a heavy duty weed guard. Usually when they bite it, they're hooked. So there's a lot of crabs in this system. And I think these fish eat a lot of crabs. And what happens is they test stuff before they eat it to see if it's soft. So everything in a system that has crabs, when crabs get soft, everything in the system wants to eat them. And I think they test stuff. So where I'm going with that is I miss a lot of fish on a swim jig because of that. I think a crankbait was a better option on this system than a swim jig. Simply because of the treble hooks they swipe at, you got a better chance of hooking them. That's also why I went down to the smaller, the baby D-bomb and the 48. The chances of them mouthing that and not getting hooked are very slim compared to a regular size bait. So, that was it. I'm very disappointed in my decision. I'm going to live with it. I hope we get to go back there. I will get revenge on that system there. I learned a lot. Even when you don't do good, you learn a lot. And, that was my week. I finished 90th. Coming into that, I was in 6th in points. Now I'm in 28th in points. Going to Lake Fork. Can't play around anymore. We got to get serious. Can't make any mistakes. I just feel like I was a little spun out when I went to Taylor's and didn't get them bites. I really felt like I was going to get some bites in there, and there's something tricky with that saltwater lock. Another thing, you always control all the variables you can control. So this is a tidal system. That's not normally tidal, but it can be depending on what they do with the lock. And those are little things that you got to study that can burn you, you know. And I'm gonna learn from it. You know, that's the deal. You know, stay with me the rest of the year. We'll see how it goes. Thank you.